Hi everybody, this is BetBlessed. Here we are on Planet Coaster. Now, as I promised the last time out, this particular video is mainly time-lapse. There's a little bit at the end where I've done basically two videos, and the last bit just shows you what I've done. I realised that the video quality is not brilliant on this. I'm trying to find a better time-lapse video software. If anybody knows of a free one which can do time-lapse really well, then that'd be great. Let me know in the comments. At the moment I record with Bandicam, which doesn't do any sort of time-lapse, but it does give me a good video quality, and then I adjust the video quality using a different a different program. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. Freemake. It's called Freemake, and I use both of those on all my videos. So the Bandicam I record with, and the Freemake I update with. I make it look pretty, and also Freemake puts it into a format where it will upload faster into YouTube than Bandicam will. So I use both of them on all my videos. What else do I use? I use actually Bandicut as well. Bandicut and Freemake both do similar things in that I can, with Freemake I can join videos together, as I have with this one, and Bandicut, of course, I can join videos and I can cut them, so I can edit bits out if I don't want bits in. So they're both very, very good programs, and I would recommend either Bandicam, Bandicut and Freemake. I think you pay for all of them. Even though Freemake's called Freemake, I think that you do have to pay if you don't want like a Freemake logo and things like that on it. But all of them, if you're interested at all in making videos, then I'd recommend all of them. However, none of them do time-lapse, and I needed something. So a little shout out here to Movavi Video Editor. You can see it in the top left of the corner, top left of the screen, and I've found this on the internet, and it's not free. It says up there it's a 7-day trial version. I don't know how much it'd be to get the full version. However, this is the first time I've used it, so I don't know whether it's worth me getting or not. The one thing that I'm not sure about is the video quality. The quality on this video doesn't look great. I recorded this video initially in Bandicam, and I've used the Movavi Video Editor to speed it up. Now, it might be that the actual time-lapse itself is what's making the video quality bad, and that you can't actually double the speed of a video and keep the same quality of video. It might just be that. But again, if anybody knows of any software out there, especially free software or fairly cheap software, that will allow me to speed up videos for this sort of time-lapse thing, because I've struggled with this in the past. It's not a new problem, this. Yeah, just let me know in the comments. That'd be brilliant. And again, you know, if there's anything decent that I can use, you might get a shout out in the videos. So a little bit about this video. So as I mentioned in the last one or two videos, I've now got some DLC for Planet Coaster, and it includes the Adventure Pack, which I believe the boats are from. It includes the Hollywood Studios type thing, so whether that's Hollywood Studios or Universal Studios, it includes that pack. And I've also got the Scary Pack, which I've never used, so it is in there. There are bits in my folders for the scary bits, but I've never made a scary area yet. So this is actually my first time making. What I'm doing is a kind of Hollywood Studios type tour. Now, what I'm thinking is, I'm building this one ride here. This one ride is going to be a kind of Egyptian adventure boat ride. So you get on the boat, you go round part of the ride, and then the boat stops, and then there's a scene plays out. So it might be a volcano erupting, or you know, a dam bursting or something like that. You know, you know these sort of rides you get at the big theme parks, especially the American ones, and they're pretty good, and that's what I'm hoping to recreate with this ride. And I wanted it to be along the lines of Egyptian mummies, pyramids, anything like that. I think I've called it something like the Mummy, or I'm not quite sure. I think it's called the Mummy, but you'll see that anyway as we get there. And that's the idea of the ride. So I wanted it so you came in up this path where you can just see the path at the top of the screen, and it sort of went over the ride, and it's supposed to be a bit like a dockyard, this, but I also wanted it to be like an Egyptian market. So that's what we're heading for, Egyptian market next to the docks, and these boats come in and the traders would try and sell goods to people. But also the area is going to have various little shops, so you'll see that in a bit. I'll come up to the building of buildings in a short while. What you're going to get at the moment is me trying to work out this path system, and paths in Planet Coaster I've seen worse. And I've also seen better. I had to delete all the original path there because it wasn't lining up with the new bit of path that came from the tarmac bit. You may have seen earlier in the video that I put some sort of concrete tarmac type path down, and that heads through this area of park, and it's by no means the definitive pathway, and it goes up and joins onto the back of the pirate section of the park. So what I'm trying to do here is I want this path to go sort of up the outside of a house here. That's what I want. I want there to be a house just on the right, or a building or a shop or something, and I want this to go up the outside of it and join up with this bit. But again, I didn't like that. I wanted some stairs there. I wanted flat bit and then stairs. So flat there, and then stairs up, but straight. But of course, so I needed to delete a bit of the other bit of path. It won't do a straight piece. The only straight piece it'll do, that's what we wanted there. Took me a while, but there you go. It's sort of how I wanted it. Now, I've by no means finished this area. There's a lot more to do on it. I just got to a point where I thought, okay, I've done enough for one video. It's about it took me about an hour to do all this, and it's now running at twice the speed. So in theory, this should be about a 25-30 minute video. And I thought that's enough for a video. I don't really want to be going up to sort of 40 minutes for videos and things. It's not necessarily that much fun, is it? And I just thought that'll be enough. So you'll see where I get to. So what I'm trying to do now is put the dock bit down, the actual bit that will be the dock side, and there'll be a dock wall, as I did in the other part of the park, the pirate area, but I didn't want it to be the same sandstone type thing. So I'm just trying to line things up, and I've realised that actually this path that comes in and the ride are not parallel to each other. Now I'm not going to go back and change either of them at this point, but they're not far out. So the idea is that I'm going to use maybe this to put in. So I put this in and then realised, well, actually it needs to go lower. And now it's not lined up again. So let's line it up again. Right, and now it needs to go low. And that's about right. So we're just putting the rest in, and then it sort of sticks through the path there, which is a bit frustrating. And then at the end it sort of doesn't line up either. I don't want another block on, but I wanted it to go further than it does. So now I'm trying to start at this end, hoping that if I start at this end of the path, then maybe it will line up with the other end of the path as well. So we want it to be parallel with that and with that. You see what I mean? Finishes there. Yeah, that's where I want it. just there. Now I'm trying to work out how many blocks I need to get to that bit. And the problem I'm having here is I can't lower the piece low enough without it disappearing under the ground. So I want it to go underneath the pathway, obviously, but not under the ground. So at the moment, whenever I lower it under the path, it's going under the ground as well, which is a bit pants. I might need to just lower the ground a little bit, and I'm trying different blocks here. I do quite like this wooden piece. I wish it was a bigger piece, but it hasn't got a lip round the edge of it, which I like. And again, you know, I just can't quite get it where it's low enough to go under the path, but not low enough for the ground. So I might need to just lower the ground, and in a moment I do that. I realise that there's no way I'm going to get something here. So there we go. Here we are. I'm just lowering the ground slightly around that side of the pathway. So I've gone back to this wooden one, but it's got a lip round the edge of it, you see, which is going to make it tricky to actually get it hidden under the path properly and the ground properly, because you end up sometimes with just the lip showing, which I don't really want. I want something that looks nice and organic and fits in beautifully. And it's not quite there. You see the left bit's still sticking up out of the ground, but the right bit's disappearing. And now I managed to find one that worked, and we're doing it, and we're going for it. Let's go for it, quick! Put them down before I change my mind. Look. Ugh. I'm not as bothered about that one bit that's sticking out through the pathway. It's just it almost reminds me of a pathway with desert sand on it, that sort of thing. So now we're getting to the buildings part of this. Now I realise that the pathway that I've built, which is a lovely pathway, the staircase that's the entrance to the ride, it does look nice, but I do want it to sort of interact with the buildings that I'm about to build. So I'm also aware that I might need to redo the path. That was in my head from the start. So we might need to just have a look at those. But I want to just get some buildings down first, and then we'll come back to the path in one moment. So basically what I'm doing now is just putting a basic framework in of where I roughly want these buildings to be. I want buildings, I don't want like a flat fascia just facing the pathway. I wanted something that was 3D so that I can put shops and toilets and things into them. Because the idea is that this part is going to have some shops, so food, drink. There will be a toilet block. There'll be a staff room as well, which will be good. And they're all going to be in these shops, these buildings that I'm now blocking out. So I'm not actually bothered about putting windows and things at this point, or shop fronts. I'm just trying to get a rough idea of what sort of space I'm using and where the walls are going to be. So as you can see with this piece, it's actually gone through the pathway that goes up, so I'm going to have to readjust the pathway, but I knew that anyway. And again here, it's through where the pathway should go, or where I want it to go. The problem with these three bits is they've actually sat on top of the roofing blocks there. I need to just take those out again. And there are a couple of bits that I thought, oh, it's some nice low walls in front of these. You know, if they are shops or something, then a few of them might have a low wall with some produce in front of the shop. And when I talk about shops, I'm not talking about shops that the customers can use. I'm talking about shops that are, you know, an Egyptian market holder might have on the edge of a market, or you know, an Egyptian salesperson, shopkeeper might have on the side of a market there. That one overhangs the ground there. I didn't notice that when I was building it, but that now, the end of that building's floating in midair. I need to go back and look at that. I need to look at the ground on all of this actually, because A, I want it to be a sandier colour, and B, there's a funny shadow runs around the bottom of the building, and I don't know whether that's because the building's floating slightly and I might need to just bring the ground up a little bit around it, or whether it is just a shadow. I'm not quite sure. So I've got a piece and I'm just trying to change the colour so it matches the colour of the bits I've already built. So originally these archways, I couldn't find one in the sort of sandstony. It's not sandstone that I've used, is it? It's is it rendered plaster? So I couldn't find a rendered plaster version of the archways. So I got some brick ones or some stone ones, and I've just coloured them the same colour as the plaster walls that I've already built. And what I'm trying to do here is get some sort of something underneath this archway, so that the archway looks as though it's supported rather than floating in midair. So there's these wooden supports here that I can put in, and I can adjust them obviously to. Now I liked this wall. When I found this wall, I thought, oh, I like that. That's better in front of the shop. I like that one. So it comes down. It's not quite the same colour as the other walls though, which is really weird because it's in the same set. You know, I've put a filter on it for something, and it's come up with these walls that are a different colour. So I might need to go back and change the colour on those. Now I wanted something here that supported the arch, but wasn't a permanent building. I didn't want a big building here. I just wanted something that sort of said, yeah, there's a wall here holding up this arch, and that's it really. It wasn't anything other than some support for the archway. And I'm not convinced that I'll leave it like that, but for now that's what we're getting. So I decided to settle on these wooden pillars here, but for some reason they were coming as lying down pillars rather than standing up. They're more like railway sleepers, but they are actually building supports, so I don't quite know why they wanted to lie down rather than stand up. So I'm just using the fine tuning to put them in the right spot. And now the archway is supported. Doesn't look great, but again, the building on the right is going to end up with a taller roof on it, because what I've done, and you'll see by the end of the video, and we're not that far off the end of the video now, but you'll see that I'll leave it at this height for all the buildings. There will be some height on these buildings, and I think actually I mentioned that in the second bit of this video, where I actually show you in not sped up version. I quite like this bit of wooden framing, and I thought it would look good, but I didn't know where it'd look good. I do need to sort this path out, so I think I'm about to do that now. It's easier once buildings are in, because you can use the grid that the buildings are built to put the path in. So even though I do have already the path running more or less where I wanted it to, it doesn't quite line up with the buildings and things. So I'm now attempting to find the grid that I want to use, and I was trying to find something that I liked, like these buildings, but it wouldn't light up for those. It would light up for bits over here. So I decided to use one of these blocks over there. I think initially I picked the wrong wood. and it wouldn't actually, because I've selected grid, it won't connect to the other path. So I need to just put one down and then come out of the grid. So at first I'm trying to build it from here, and it's not liking it at all. It won't let me build up or down from there. It'll either build at that level, ground level, or the next level up, and it just doesn't like it. It doesn't want to do a slope. So I came out of the grid, and then I just went back to normal pathways, and boom, beautiful. That's what we wanted. And now, because it's to the grid, although that bit's a bit wonky, it now comes where I want it to, or more or less where I want it to. And there you go. That's our walkway done. We've got some of the buildings done. So some of these are going to be like this one on the right that you can just see with the little low wall. It's going to be a shop front, but it's not going to be a shop front that people can go and visit. It's going to be a facade of a shop front. Like this bit here it's kind of grocers sat on the dock side, so you know, people come and buy things from the grocers when they get off the boat, or take food as they're about to get on the boat, or that sort of thing. And I just wanted this to look like a busy working dock. I did toy with putting some trees and bushes in here, but when I go to them, and I think I do go to them in a second and have a look at them, but they didn't quite seem to fit right. I've decided to go for these benches rather than the barrel benches. I like these now. We're in a different area of the theme park. The other area is your pirate area, and this is now a different area. So even though this is like a Universal Studios Hollywood type tour area place, it can have several different themes around it. So we've got this Egyptian themed marketplace here with the Egyptian ride that goes with it, but then we can have like a cityscape for let's say for example a Men in Black type ride, or that sort of thing that they have at Universal in Orlando. And we could build some buildings and things. This was the bit where I was trying to put some plants in. I was just like, no, I don't like that. Although I stuck with the ivy. I do quite like the ivy there. And again, when I build the buildings up, I might put some more in. I did like this route. I think this comes from the Spooky set, and it's a gnarled old route. But I quickly gave up with the plants for now. I think I need to build the buildings higher and see what they look like when they're built up. But there you go. So it's looking quite nice now, isn't it? We've got some buildings, we've got the entrance and exit for the ride. I'm trying to find something that will go in the middle, but I'm not loving it. There's nothing that I sort of thought that needs to go there. I was thinking maybe a fountain or something. Maybe I can get away with a fountain. So I'll probably come back to that. So these two bits where there are canopies, I decided would be shops eventually. I'm just having a bit of trouble lining them up. And this one here. And I also put another couple in. Yeah, not there. Don't put it there. Not there. So I've gone with one there. And one over here. And I think the staff restroom might go just to the right of that. But we're not sure yet. But there you go. I'll put you on the second part of the video. Well, there you go, folks. I hope that it's looking nice for you. This is the start of our Egyptian adventure boat ride, and we've got a little bit of a village thing going on. So the idea is that when you come into this area, it looks like an Egyptian marketplace or something. We're going to have various shops in here. So I've earmarked 4 at the moment. There's also going to be a staff room somewhere here. So I don't quite know where, but it might be that we just put one in like here. Certainly there'll be all the usual. There'll be food, drink, toilets, maybe an information, maybe an ATM, and certainly a staff room. yeah, so hopefully it's starting to look a little bit nicer. There's going to be some more height on some of these buildings, so some of them will be 2 or 3 levels high. Some will have a roof on where they are, and the idea is that it's a little bustling marketplace with a little bit of a dock, which I also need to finish off, and then we'll go on and build the ride afterwards. So I hope it's looking nice, and again, give me comments in the comments, and hopefully we'll be able to make it look fantastic, just like a film set. My name is Backblast. I'll see you next time.